In the headlines to the CBC NewsNight, people charged with crimes could soon have the option of trial by a judge alone or before a jury. A senior police officer assigned to investigate the death of a male prisoner at Central Police Station. Rebates promised to farmers ready to be rolled out. And in sports, Pakistan finally get off the mark at the World Cup.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening and welcome to the CBC NewsNight. With the details, I'm Wendy Burke. Prime Minister Mia Motley says the creation of a blue-green bank will help Barbadians build resilience into every aspect of their living. She says this has become necessary because of the climate crisis. Prime Minister Motley has warned the country is at risk of losing homelands, culture and civilization in the face of rising temperatures. She was speaking in the lower house on the establishment of the Barbados Blue-Green Bank Bill 2024.
If we are not capable of adapting and becoming resilient, then the loss and damage that we face will be more acute. There is a direct relationship between mitigation, adaptation and resilience, and loss and damage. Now, Mr. Speaker, break it down now into simple language and Bajan. Mr. Speaker, if we keep using diesel buses and gasoline cars, it is going to add to the emissions. And who on the front line of that? All of the people who suffer from the hurricanes, suffer from the floods, the convection rain. I keep calling. We never had rain. It gets so hot at 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the rain just got to whoosh, and it comes down in a deluge, a flood of rain, fast, 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 fast.
Prime Minister Motley says the Blue-Green Bank will allow companies and individuals to access capital at a cheaper rate.
What this government is doing today with the passage of this legislation is to create an instrument, a bank that is appropriate to the times in which we live, and that will not function as your normal commercial retail bank on Broad Street, but that effectively marries the principles of both development banking and investment banking to act as a market maker, to be able to make it easier, to be able to make it better for persons to be able to unlock financing at a time when we have a date with destiny, a race to be able to adapt and, yes, to become resilient.
Earlier, Minister in the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, Ryan Strachan, led the debate on the bill. He says Barbados continues to be the leader as a small island developing state, and in this regard, he has now proposed the establishment of a blue-green bank, which will benefit the region in its fight against the ongoing climate crisis battle. Already, various global and regional entities have pledged approximately some $77 million towards the bank's setup, which will also benefit the entire region. Some of these entities include the Green Climate Fund, the U.S. Agency for International Development, the Development Bank for Latin America and the Caribbean, the governments of Guyana and Bahamas, as well as funds from the Resilience and Sustainability Trust.
We felt it was important that given Barbados and the region's susceptibility and vulnerability, sir, to the climate crisis being unfolding and doing so rapidly and impacting our lives, we felt it was important that there should be a dedicated institution in the region that will work collaboratively, sir, with governments and private sector, as well as other multilateral development banks, philanthropy, and the like, sir, globally, in order to be laser-like and focused in respect to how we are going to address some of the financing needs as it relates to the climate crisis.
Also from the lower house today, Barbados is moving to allow individuals accused of crimes to opt for trial by a judge alone or by a jury. That is one of the amendments to the criminal procedure legislation before the lower house today. Leading off the debate, Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Dale Marshall says government has sought to correct inefficiencies in the criminal justice system. He says judge-alone trials will make the court system more efficient.
Judge-alone trials are faster than trials with jury. They're more efficient than trials with jury. They eliminate at the outset the selection of the jury. As you well know, sir, when you begin your case, the first thing you have to do is to empanel a jury. And you know what that is like. The system of objections to jurors, all of those things have to be gone through. No, I wouldn't suggest at all that our system is anywhere like the one with President of the United States, where that took almost a week. But it still takes time to empanel a jury. And of course, the jury system is also going to be coming up for review very shortly.
Mr. Marshall says new criminal justice rules are coming in the new court year. According to him, plea bargaining legislation is also on the cards. Government Minister Wilfred Abrams is insisting that the alarmingly high backlog of court cases will never be reduced unless drastic measures are taken. The Minister of Home Affairs, Information and Public Affairs made his point abundantly clear when he contributed to the debate.
It will never happen. More people are getting charged than trials are being. Every day, I don't have the figures, but I'm guessing. Let's put a figure. At least 15 people get charged a day. I'm saying at least. On a Monday, it's a lot more than that. At least 15 people get charged a day. How many trials do we do in a day in Barbados? 4? 3? The sheer mathematics of it says that every single day we are falling further and further behind. We are not going to remove or reduce the backlog unless we take a radical change.
Leader of the opposition, Ralph Thorne, welcomed the Criminal Procedure Amendment Bill. He says judge-only trials could be a rationale to avoid the possibility of corruption. He suggests a review in months to come will reveal how many choose to go before a judge.
Let us see how this goes. Let us see how the accused men in this country will elect. Now, I know, and I think the Attorney General said it, that there are some jurisdictions in which it is not an option, that you will have to go before the court and accept that some trials are judge alone. And the Attorney General would have said it, the more complex trials, and I want to take it further and say financial crimes. I mean, you don't want a jury to sit and deliberate on a financial crime or listen to evidence of a financial crime, hearing numbers and statistics and poring over, in some cases, thousands of documents. You don't want to subject a jury to that.
The Criminal Procedure Amendment Bill 2024 was passed in the lower house. The Barbados Police Service has assigned a senior officer to investigate the death of a young man in police custody on Sunday. This revelation from Commissioner of Police Richard Boyce. It comes after police say 29-year-old Kimo Grant was found unresponsive in their prisoner's cells at the Central Police Station in Bridgetown. According to the top cop, Grant, who was detained following a report to the Black Rock Police Station, was seen by a medical doctor soon after going into custody and before being placed in a holding cell.
He was visited while in the holding area and was alert up to around 06:50 hours on the said date. When additional check was made on him, he appeared to be asleep. Efforts were made to rouse him, but he was unresponsive. A medical doctor was summoned and examined him and pronounced him dead. Now, a senior officer has been assigned to investigate the circumstances surrounding the death of Kimo Grant, which is now being treated as unnatural. A thorough investigation will be done, and at the earliest opportunity, a coroner's inquiry will be conducted into the matter.
Commissioner Boyce says police will be professional and transparent in the investigation. He added that the communication lines remain open with Grant's relatives as well as access to counseling. In light of the incident, the Barbados Bar Association has also issued a statement. According to attorney at law and convener of the Criminal Law Committee, Marty Garnes, they're calling for more widespread and mandatory use of body cameras by police, as well as recordings of certain interactions between lawmen and people accused of a crime at the stations.
All station orderlies should be required to wear a body camera to record a suspect's first interaction at a police station. Now, this interaction would include documenting the suspect's personal information and any medical conditions or complaints. We also recommend that once the suspect is taken into custody and the custodian is put in charge of the suspect, any condition checks should be video recorded. Cameras should also be placed near the cells, entrances and exits of the station. Now, our suggestions safeguard the rights of the accused and would rebut any potential false allegations being made against the police.
Coming up, rebates totaling millions of dollars now available for farmers to collect. $2.6 million in new rebates promised to farmers during this year's budget is now available for them to collect. This is according to Acting Chief Agricultural Officer Michael James. The livestock development rebate, the establishment of pastures, and the 45% rebate on the purchase of hay are now available. Mr. James says by the end of this month, farmers will be able to make applications online. But until then, they can source applications at the ministry's Graham Hall office. Additionally, he reveals the bounty for the green monkey has also been increased to $25 per tail. Mr. James says the primate continues to be a pest to farmers, but Barbados is not the only Caribbean island that has that issue. However, the chief stresses the move to control the animal has to be balanced based on signed conventions, even with the increase in bounty.
Known in this, St. Kitts Nevis has an issue with the green monkey, and just yesterday or the day before, there was a reel on television where Antigua and Barbuda has the same issue. We have these monkeys, probably somebody brought them in as a pet or whatever, and now the population has increased and is doing a lot of damage to the crops in that particular country. So we're not only going to learn from what we are planning to put in place here, but we're also obviously going to speak to our colleagues and neighbors in the other countries to see what other measures can be put in place to allow us to control this particular pest.
Mr. James adds that the ministry is also working on controlling the invasion of the new red millipedes, which have been seen across the island. He says officials have since sent some of them to be identified and will update the public on their findings.
If, when we identify it, they said, okay, well, this is something that is new, as most persons are saying, yeah, we've never seen it before, then we will say, okay, this is something that we think we have identified it, and this is what happens with it. If you want to control it on your property, you can contact us and we will create or give you a way of trying to control it.
Hold a high-level international labour conference, the trust gap between states and citizens, as well as employers and employees, is widening worldwide. BWU General Secretary Tony Moore says the experience of COVID-19 also exposed further social and economic inequalities within and between countries. Ms. Moore suggests a need for course correction. She was addressing the ongoing plenary debates at the 112th International Labour Conference in Geneva, Switzerland.
To control the power imbalances and divergent interests that continue to promote an agenda for the few and not for the many. The need for a renewed social contract is therefore incontestable, but are we truly ready to move past this being merely a philosophical concept? Is there within and among ILO member states the political will to undertake the drastic transformation required in our labour markets, tax systems, social security systems, but more so in our mindsets to take advantage of what a new social contract can deliver on?
A CARICOM ministerial caucus was also held with the various Caribbean ministers of labour in Geneva. Matters raised included opportunities for advancing green jobs and the decent work agenda in the Caribbean and upskilling of the workforce to address the skills deficit. Barbados was represented by Labour Minister Colin Jordan. Scores of residents from the Haynesville and Pine communities will soon get the chance to further their education thanks to a collaboration between the Pinelands Creative Workshop and the Samuel Jackman Prescott Institute for Technology. It's called the Facilitating Inclusive Development in Communities program. It was launched yesterday morning at the SJPI. Pineland's Creative Workshop CEO Sophia Graves says the courses, which are set to begin on June 24th, are tailored to give individuals a second chance to get their lives on track.
So Haynesville, we're looking at the same 15 and 15 in the Pine.
How long the programs?
Programs, as you know, is looking at Microsoft Word and Excel, AutoCAD, as well as QuickBooks, and all of those programs run over a 15-week period. But the programs also include not only the core topic of AutoCAD or QuickBooks and what's not, but we're also including the other development components, so there'll be career counseling, career advising going on, and collaboration with our colleagues with Ministry of Labor, so that persons now can have an idea, what am I going to do with this? What I'm going to do with this new skill set.
While pleased to be associated with the program, SJPI Principal Ian Drakes appealed to individuals to grasp the opportunity which will be offered in the community.
We have the old adage that says sometimes that if Muhammad can't go to the mountain, then we take the mountain to Muhammad. And this is where we're taking this template into the community, offering the same type of training that if you came to SJPA on evenings or in the mornings that you will get, and you're going to be getting a recognized certificate from the SJPA. And that's the excitement that we have going with the partnership with the Pinelands Creative Workshop and with their Maria Holder Trust supporting it.
And parliamentary representatives for the communities of Haynesville and the Pine have welcomed the program. Deputy Prime Minister Santia Bradshaw and St. James South MP Sandra Husbands both see the training as a bonus for their constituents who are between the ages of 18 and 35.
This commitment, this collaboration, this volunteerism to work together to try to provide for our young people an escape hatch, an exit from a life of going nowhere to a life where they can dream, imagine what they want their lives to be like, and have the opportunity to actually create that life. That is what this program is about.
I welcome to the fact that the program is going to be done during the daytime. Again, it's convenient for those parents who are those persons who are parents who will obviously have their children in care and will be able to participate. It's not for a long period of time, so it still gives them that opportunity to be able to participate. For the ones who are looking at the distance in terms of where they have to go, well, that factor has been taken care of because it's within a community, so there's no excuse.
Sports Night, brought to you with the compliments of Great Health Works, agents for Omega XL.
Sports time now with Anne-Marie Burke. What's new in sports today, Anne-Marie?
Well, good evening to you, Wendy. Now, the Lodge School will play Queen's College A in one of the two semi-finals of the National Sports Council's Secondary Schools Under-15 basketball competition. They booked their place after a hard-fought must-win match against Combermere at Waterford. This game was a very crucial one for both Combermere and Lodge. A win meant a semi-final place, so as you can imagine, both teams will be fighting hard. The Waterford boys were on home court, but that did not deter their opponents, as this steal and subsequent pass to Kimani Edwards resulted in a nice fadeaway that gave Lodge the first dibs on the score sheet. As you can imagine, that ignited the Combermere boys to immediately go on the counter, and where one attempt failed, backup was in place, albeit having to fight a White House-style defense, but Caden Proverbs ensured the basket was attained. We're heading back down court now with the Messiah Street boys looking to make it basket for basket, and completing this play was Zachary Burke. Laws seem to have started as a stronger team. Another steal, and it's Emmanuel Blair on the breakaway and banks it. But in the grand scheme of things, it was the Waterford boys who had the advantage in this opening quarter, where Proverbs missed. Right there for the mop-up draw was Gabriel Devonish. And despite having to battle with the Lodge defense, Combermere were up 13-8 at the end of the first quarter. But the Combermereans continued their dominance in the second, with all hands on deck to create the baskets, with the last save this time around is Darian Lashley, as it will be 22-13 scoreline at the half in their favour. Into the third, and what we saw was a change of guard. Lodge now pressing hard to the basket, and in this case, it was a solo effort from Jalen Jordan, who caught his rebound and made wrong things right. Here they go again, shooting up court. Noah Burke was not going to let the defense get the better of him and adds another to the score. Lodge started this quarter with a 9-point deficit, but that was soon gone with the wind, as by now they had made it an even playing field. Cormier keeping pace as it was a close game as it could get. Jared Ashby fighting defense before finding Nathan Phillips, who's on target. I remember I told you it was a change in guard. Well, led by this guy, Blair, Lodge will end the third up by the slimmest of margins, 1 point, 25-24. On the back foot and with a win so crucial, Cormier knew this final 15 was the business end of things. And where Lodge created the inkling of plays for them, they needed to capitalize. Going coast to coast is Mikal Wilcher. Lodge on the offense or not, as a steal again, and this time Devonish looking to seal the deal. But while he misses the first attempt, as luck would have it, the ball will be back in his hand and he gets it right. But let's wrap it up now. Lodge hungry for the win, way into overdrive. Again, Blair is the man, 2 more of his game-high 17. And you couldn't want it more intense than this as the clock ticked down. Devonish again off the board. But it will be the boys from the East who would be semi-final bound. Blair again intercepts the pass and up court we go. Easy does it. Lodge edge out Combermere 38-35. The other semi-final will feature Harrison College A versus the St. Michael's School.
The Business Report, brought to you by the Youth Entrepreneurship Scheme, a department of the Ministry of Youth and Community Empowerment, supporting young entrepreneurs from idea to enterprise.
Report, personal care for mechanics. That's the purpose of products from the business SEK Hair and Skincare, the brainchild of Crystal Thorne. On tonight's Yes Business Report, she discusses the development of the enterprise and the road ahead with Trevor Thorpe.
SEK Hair and Skincare is a business developed by Crystal Thorne. She says her inventory comprises all-purpose butters and hair detoxifiers that could be used all over the body as well as degreasers. She says embarking on a personal journey created a need for her to work on the development of the business.
It's basically a natural line where the business cater to the skin as well as the hair. So every product in terms of the body butters, they can use in your hair as well as any part of the body. We also make hair detox balms as well as lip balms and foaming whip soap, and our new addition to the line is a degreaser, foaming degreaser for mechanics. If they want something natural instead of using the harsh chemicals, we provide that too as well.
The young entrepreneur tells the Business Report after spending much time researching inputs, she is satisfied with the market response.
When I was going back on my natural journey, it was hard to find stuff to moisturize my hair with. So I decided, instead of just spending money buying stuff that isn't working, let me just combine stuff. I did some research and I put together some oils and butters and it worked well. And I realized these same oils I can put in my hair, I can use on my skin too as well. So then I decided to let it be an all-purpose body butter.
A product of the Youth Entrepreneurship Scheme, Ms. Thorne says the guidance and teaching offered have equipped her with the necessary tools and acumen to develop her young business.
The guidance of the officers in terms of the different classroom sessions that we had in terms of marketing and sales, and even helping us how to balance our funds and keep inventory in check and stuff like that. It actually worked quite well for somebody that knows starting out and trying to get a feel.
Her roadmap for the future includes getting into supermarkets as well as overseas.
They can find me on Instagram at SEK_hair and skincare. You can also find my other page, which is Precious Kingdom, on Facebook as well as on IG. Precious Kingdom was actually the name when I first started out. And on my journey of transitioning, I decided to break away from Precious Kingdom and just separate the skincare from the hair business.
Short reels and rebuilding her social media pages are also among her immediate plans. Trevor Thorpe for the Yes Business Report.
In other business news, the shortage of milk on supermarket shelves should end by August. Word of this came from the Pine Hill Dairy today. Country manager Sharia London says that it is a shortfall faced by global suppliers, creating the shortfall locally. She told CBC in the interim they've made arrangements for a temporary supplement of milk from June and July from a neighboring Caribbean dairy to meet the anticipated demands. The dairy official said over the past year, the dairy has also experienced shortfalls of raw milk supply from farmers due to weather conditions and other factors. But the Pine Hill Dairy remains committed to providing and producing quality milk products for the market. She said they're confident this problem will be remedied in the long term, given the subventions provided by government and the company's internal process adjustment. And it's time now for the second round of sports with Anne-Marie Burke.
Well, there is a new national record in the women's javelin throw. Kayla Thorpe, representing the University of Maryland, set the new mark of 53.44 meters at the NCAA Finals in Oregon, USA this past week. The old record was held by former West Indies cricketer and junior national athlete Deandra Doughton, who had a throw of 47 meters at the Carifta Games in St. Kitts back in 2008. Well, as the local track and field season builds up to the national championships, the Olympian Classic took center stage at the Usain Bolt Sports Complex recently. Here's a look at the events on the Saturday program. The 400s are where we'll start with the under-18 girls, a small field of 4 in this one, but keeping pace with each other as they approach the final 80 meters. Tia Applewhite in the blue of talent steps to the front with elite distance Kenny Hines on her shoulder. This is where the battle was, before Hines got a boost of speed as Applewhite tires. And here comes Hines' teammate Shanicia Brand, and that's how they would finish. Hines 59.17 seconds, Brand 59.41, and Applewhite 59.68 seconds. To the boys' finals, picking up in the final 150 and in full stride and looking so composed and smooth as usual. Elite distance, Aidan Moore looking to challenge him on the outside. Princess Margaret's Rashad Gibson. They come into the straight and Moore stepped on the gas. Gibson still keeping up but slightly behind, as those finish times will be 49.56 seconds and 49.99. Remember, these are your 400s, and the under 20 boys are off the line with your record holder Josiah Paris in the red of Quantum Leap in the mix. And he wasted no time in making up the stagger in the first 100 meters. So fast forward to the final 100, and he comes off the bend in a race all his own, making it look like a cool evening jog to come home comfortably in 48.03 seconds, ahead of Extreme Velocities Kyron Haynes 49.52 and Nathan Seal 50.16 seconds. The open girls go down the backstretch and you could see the race taking shape, yet still too close to call though, as this was one of the more competitive of the quarter miles. All 6 girls tussled to state command, and off the final curve I could see some serious moves being made. Tiana Boyne comes to the fore, Keelia Bentham in tow, and these two will create some win between themselves and the rest. Boyne for the win in 55.36 seconds, Bentham 56.40 for a second, and Kalisa Downs third, 58.24. The Open 400 for men we pick up in the final stages, where it was already a done deal. Jaleel Armstrong pouring off the curve and having enough on the rest of them to come through for the win in 47.31 seconds. Yazid Daniel in second, 48.30, and third, Shane Johnson, 48.60. Let's tack over to the fast zone, the 100s. Here comes the under 18 girls, and all the running was on the inside lane from talents Alika Harewood, dipping in ahead of Azari Husbands and Naima Taylor. The winning time was 12.46 seconds. Shooting out the blocks, the under 18 boys who over the first 50 meters were pretty even until Jakai Brewster engaged some extra knots to beat the field in 11.09 seconds. Ooh, that was a quick one. Under 20 boys, another full field, and the pace was hot from start to finish with the focus in the center lanes, as here comes Tion Hayes, our long jumper, has that back end speed to get to the line first in 10.87 seconds, ahead of Rodnico Carrington and Reginaldo Spencer. The Open women started with 13 in the prelims, and this was her best 8, and she's holding her own among the big girls. Anaya Nurse, forever repping her Adding School, starts to the line in 11.85 seconds, ahead of Tiance Waldron and Tanae Niles. And the Open Men's 100 will bring an end to our package 6 coming at you the hard way. Watch as Johnny Aits in the white change gears with 40 left to come through in 10.50 seconds ahead of Ross Waldron 10.54 and Jamil Walks-Miller 10.62 seconds.
Thanks for viewing. Enjoy the rest of your evening.